If you're listening to this, you're ready. Ready to join the industrial intelligence generation. A generation defined not by age, but by a shared mindset to connect teams, accelerate efficiency, and drive innovation. Using the power of Aviva software to reshape industries, turning real-time insights into real-world growth. Discover our stories at industrialintelligence.com. Join Generation I.
Maybe you like cooking. Maybe you don't. Either way, the new Blue Apron is for you. Because along with our classic meal kits, we're offering new pre-made and one-pan meals to help you get dinner on the table fast. And now there's no subscription needed, so you can just order and enjoy. Do delicious food your way. Shop 100+ meals at blueapron.com. Get 50% off your first 2 orders with code APRON50. Terms and conditions apply. Visit blueapron.com/terms for more.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Kilowatt, a podcast about electric vehicles, renewable energy, autonomous driving, and much, much more. My name is Bodie, and I am your host, and on today's episode, we are going to cover Donut Lab, as well as Verge Motorcycle. I was lucky enough to get an interview with the CTO of Donut Lab, Ville Piippo, that's the CTO. And then Steve and Allison Sheridan were able to get a interview with the CEO of Donut Lab, and that is Marko Lehtimaki. And it's interesting because the CEO of Verge Motorcycle is Tuomo Lehtimaki, so I would imagine that they are related in some way. Anyway, Steve does the interview with Marko, and it is fantastic, and they have been so gracious in giving us their interview to play here on the show. And I think what we're going to do today, not what I think, I know what we're going to do today, is that I'm going to play all 3 interviews. I had a chance to sit down with Spencer from Verge Motorcycle and Ville, who's the CTO of Donut Lab, and then, of course, Steve and Allison got a chance to talk to Marko. But before we do that, I do want to talk a little bit about the technology on our last podcast, not on our last podcast, on one of the podcasts that I did. I think it was the one before the last podcast. I talked a lot about solid-state battery technology. On this one, I'd like to go over like in-hub and hubless motors, just to kind of give a reference. So if we're looking at like a traditional EV style motor, that's going to be built into the frame, and we're talking about motorcycles here just to kind of keep everything on the same page. A traditional EV motor would be built into the frame of the motorcycle, and then the motor would be connected to a chain, a belt, or some sort of gear system that connects the motor and the tire. That would be like a traditional setup. If we're looking at an in-hub motor, that means the electric motor is built directly into the wheel hub itself instead of being mounted to the frame. It's just kind of sitting out there in space. And sometimes you'll hear people talk about unsprung mass, and that's kind of what that is like the whatever that in-hub motor is connected to, it's got to bear all of that weight. And we'll talk about that here in a little bit. So what Donut is doing is a hubless motor. So just kind of getting through the advantages of in-hub motors before we get to hubless motors. An advantage of an in-hub motor is it's simple. You know, there's no chain, belt, or differential that has to be connected. Power is going directly to that wheel inside the hub. It's fewer moving parts, less maintenance, fewer things to break. The power goes straight to the wheel, so very little is lost in friction because, you know, it's built, like I said, into that hub. It frees up space for extra battery or storage. And then, you know, we're going to hear it when I talk to my folks in the interview, is like the torque really goes from the motor to the wheel, right? Versus going from the motor, which is mounted to the frame in a traditional setup, to the chain and then to the wheel. This is like right there. It's a little bit easier to implement regenerative braking since it's connected directly to the wheel. The disadvantage is that the motor adds significant weight to the wheel itself, which is, like I said, that unsprung mass is harder for the suspension to react quickly, and it could make it bumpy when you're going over roads that have a lot of bumps. It could make it a rough handling, I guess. So at high speed or on dirt roads, you're going to have some. It's going to be an uncomfortable ride. And then, with in-hub motors, the motor's going to need to be cooled. Sometimes airflow is enough, but typically you'll have to have some sort of fluid in there, and that adds weight. And the motor's exposed, like I said, to all the shock, the potholes, the curbs, the debris, and that's going to cause problems over time with durability. And then in terms of servicing the wheel, if you have to replace a tire or the whole wheel itself, that could add a little bit of complexity. It might, I'm not saying it will, but it might cost more money in repairs. So, just something to kind of be aware of. That's largely, in my opinion, why in-hub motors have not really done well, is because it's more, they're less durable, typically. So what Donut Labs is doing is the motor is in the rim. So if you were to look through the tire, there's no spokes. It is an outer ring which contains magnets, and this ring rotates, and the motor is mechanically part of the rim instead of this hub that's in the center. So that's why, Donut Labs, it's a donut motor, hubless motor. You can, like I said, no spokes. You can see directly through the wheel, which makes it look really cool. And then they have this plate that is affixed to the swing arm on the motorcycle. And this plate the plate is connected to the swing arm, and the swing arm is connected to the suspension. So much of the energy that an in-hub motor would have to absorb is being absorbed directly to the suspension. So that actually ends up being, according to Donut Lab anyway, a more durable way of doing this. So, the motor connected to the rim, there's a plate connected to that, and the suspension system is absorbing most of the vibration and wear and tear that occurs when you're riding a motorcycle. So some of the advantages is obviously there's no drivetrain loss like we talked about before. Effectively, there's a lot of similarities in the advantage when it comes to the type of motors. The other thing with the way that the Donut motor works is it's all air cooled. So there's no liquid cooling at all, which reduces weight and frees up space on the bike, which is, really important, especially on a bike that size. So yeah. So now that we've kind of explained that, hopefully that gives some context for the actual interviews. So let's go ahead, and we're going to start off with Steve and Allison's interview with Marko Lehtimaki, the CEO of Donut Lab.
I'm here with Marko Lehtimaki at the Donut Labs booth. Mm-hmm. And I heard an announcement yesterday by your company that was just fantastic, and I'm very interested in your technology. Mm-hmm. So I'd like, if you don't mind, for you to explain a little bit and how it works when incorporated into this Verge motorcycle.
Sure. Yeah, so Verge TS Pro uses already our motors here. So it's an in-wheel motor. It's a rim motor, what we say, how we call it. So
I've also heard the term hubless.
Yeah, it's hubless rim motor. So it's normally you have in-wheel motors in the hub. This is, in the rim, and that gives so much more power and torque to the motor because the materials are on a larger radius. And so this motor right here produces 1,000 newton meters torque.
Newton meters?
Yeah.
Okay.
And up to 200 horsepower in our Ultra model.
In a relatively small machine, that's a lot of horse. Can I ask a couple questions about how this is implemented? So the point of rotation is between this and this?
Yeah. So stationary part is here. And then the
rotating part is this?
Exactly, yes.
So, and now, is there any physical point of contact between those two pieces, or is it magnetically separated?
Yeah, it's magnetically separated.
So there's no physical friction. There's magnetic friction, but no physical friction, which also helps with performance,
absolutely.
right?
Yes.
And so this is an extremely efficient design, I would say, plus instant torque. And high power.
Yeah, I mean, so this is approximately 3 times more torque and power than the per kilogram. So power density and torque density versus the next best motor in the world. So it's
on a motorcycle?
No, period. Like anywhere. Yeah.
Impressive. Okay.
Yeah.
So I see these 3 large electrical cables coming in. They're providing electricity to the motor?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, and so the battery is up front here?
Yeah, battery is this whole bottom part of the vehicle. So you don't need to make space for motor and everything because the motor is in the wheel, so we can use the entire space for battery.
Okay. Can we talk a little bit about the battery technology?
Sure, yeah.
How many kilowatt hours does that battery store?
There's 2 variants. There's this variant that is 20 kilowatt hours, and then there's a 33.3 kilowatt hour variant that was announced just yesterday, which is 350 miles.
Of range?
Yes.
On a single charge?
Yes.
Got it. Okay. A solid-state battery?
Well, yes. I mean, this is officially the world's first vehicle shipping to customers that has solid-state battery in it. And that allows us not just to give almost double the range that was... Verge broke the Guinness World Record last year with the longest range on a motorcycle. Now they are almost doubling it thanks to our solid-state battery. But also that provides Verge bikes with less than 10-minute charge time, 0 to full. Versus the industry-leading 35 minutes that it used to be before, which was already way more than the competitors. Now it's down to less than 10 minutes. And on top of that, the cycle life that is normally cars maybe 2,000, 3,000 cycles. This is 100,000 cycles. So that's like probably 30 lifetimes of a motorcycle. So you never have to worry about babying the battery or worrying if you can let it go to 100% or 0. It doesn't mind. You can do whatever you want, charge it to full, let it go to 0 as many times as you want. It doesn't degrade.
This is very impressive. Let me ask a couple practical questions and then get into battery tech. Practical questions. When you charge, what are you charging from or on?
Yeah, it's an ACS in the US.
An ACS, like you can go to a Tesla charger?
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
And it will accept a charge from a Tesla charger?
Yes, absolutely.
Got it. And so what is the max rate it will charge in kilowatts?
I think it's somewhere around 200.
200 kilowatts. Yeah. Okay, that's like a Tesla.
10C, yeah. That's 10C. That with that rate, you go below 10 minutes. Yeah.
That is impressive. Okay. Now, the battery technology is solid state.
Yes.
And you've announced some power densities that are incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not just, I mean, so if I run through the specs quickly, we have 400 watt hours per kilogram. We have full charge on the cell level, we can get to 5 minutes. So then it depends on the cooling and everything in the battery pack, whether you get to 5 or 10 or whatever. But 5 minutes is the fastest charge possibility. As mentioned, 100,000 cycles. So that's 10 lifetimes of a car as well. And the other incredible things are that, of course, with motorcycles, you don't take them to like deep freeze or anything. But if you're using these batteries in cars, even at like 25 or 30 minus Fahrenheit, it will have 99% of capacity.
So the reason you can do that is there's no liquid in the battery. It's solid state.
Yeah, so 200 Fahrenheit to minus 30 Fahrenheit, it's 99 point something capacity.
That is impressive. So do you have to precondition the battery like a car might?
Not at all. And actually, what we've done even is that normally you cannot get lithium-ion batteries to zero.
Right, we know about that. 5% is the lowest we like to go.
Yeah, this can go 0.0.
And the battery doesn't get damaged.
No, then you can go with 5C charging from the next moment without warming it up or anything. It just takes it like nothing.
Wow. So,
100%.
Yeah, absolutely, to 100%.
And that does not harm the battery for consistent charging to 100%?
100,000 cycles with that, yeah.
So that's the difference also between lithium-ion and other technologies in solid state?
Not with all solid state, but with ours, yes.
And can you say a little more about your solid-state technology, or is it all proprietary? What makes it so special?
I could tell you, but I'd have to kill you. So,
okay. This podcast is not worth it.
So, no, we're not sharing about the chemistry. We do have our trade secrets about the manufacturing techniques as well as the materials. Of course, obviously, some will soon... when they get one of these into their hands, they will sweep and do some analysis and everything. But that can happen then. But right now, we've decided, we are the first. We are moving fast. We don't want to share all of our trade secrets to all the competitors immediately.
I fully understand that and appreciate that. So, So with this really high power density and the solid-state technology, can you talk about the safety of these batteries relative to others in industry?
Yeah, that's the other thing that, so there's no risk of thermal runaway, so it won't ignite. I mean, even if you shoot through it or do whatever you want to the cell, it will be just fine. It just loses the capacity from the area where you shot. But yeah, so there's no risk, and that's actually a huge thing, for not just for automotive, but we also putting this into grid storage and charging stations and all those energy storage places. So
whole home batteries.
Absolutely, yeah. This is going into all kinds of places now. So they're not having to worry that it will catch fire is a huge thing.
Fantastic. So we see this implemented on a motorcycle, and you're working with Verge to do that.
Yeah.
Other vehicles right now that you're working?
Well, actually, Watt Electric, they provide this skateboard platform to 100 plus OEMs already. They do commercial vehicles, sports cars, or it's a modular skateboard platform for car manufacturers. It comes now with donut motors and the solid-state battery since today. So any of the customers of Watt that wants to utilize this technology, they can do a drop-in replacement to their existing cars.
Got it. Fantastic. So it sounds like your goal is to get into as many platforms and other uses as possible.
Yeah, I mean, it seems we cannot help it because last year we announced this incredible motor family, and we got like 500 OEMs talk to us throughout the show, 5 days. Now, before we started today at 9 a.m., before the show even started, we had over 1,000 OEMs that had reached out to us already since yesterday's announcement. So it is going literally to data grids, balancing, to charging stations, to marine, to drones, to everywhere. And we're happy to do business with everybody.
I love to see this kind of technology proliferate, and I'm glad you guys are out front. Is there any question I didn't ask that you'd like to get information out about your product? Or
maybe capacity, because a lot of people wonder, like, okay, when can you go to big scale or whatever? So we are already at gigawatt hour level. We are going to tens of gigawatt hours next year. And if any large OEM needs even more capacity, we can ramp up. And there's no basically ceiling to our ability to ramp up. So the bigger the project, the happier we are. So we are happy to work with everybody.
Fantastic. Marko, it's been a pleasure, and I appreciate the time you spent with me today, and good luck. All the best with this. Thanks. I like to see you succeed.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
When everything is moving all at once, your workforce, your tech stack, your business, you don't need more tools. You need one solution. That's why Paylocity built a single platform to connect HR, finance, and IT with AI-driven insights and automated workflows that simplify the complex and power what's next. Because when everything comes together in one place, growth comes easy. Experience one place for all your HCM needs. Start now at paylocity.com/one.
Is it just me, or has watching TV gotten way too complicated? There are a million different services and too many bills to keep track of. Thankfully, there's Philo, a better way to TV. For as low as $33 a month, I get the channels I love. MTV, BET, Food Network, you name it. Plus, everything that AMC Plus has to offer. And guess what? They've added access to HBO Max Basic with Ads Plan and Discovery Plus, so I can enjoy all the best TV with one subscription. There are no contracts, no surprise fees, just one low price. And their DVR is awesome, too. I can save everything I love for up to a year and skip the ads when I rewatch them. A total game changer. I signed up directly at philo.tv. That's philo.tv. And if you subscribe today, you can get $8 off your first month. Philo's the easiest decision I've ever made. Now the hard one. Deciding what to binge next.
All right. So that was Steve's interview, which was fantastic. Again, I can't remember if I said this before or not, but I think Steve should have his own podcast. He just has a great way of explaining things. So, now next up, we are going to hear from Ville Piippo, who is the CTO of Donut Lab. And, everybody was really nice in these booths, and it's not just they were nice, because everybody's nice at CES. That would be a terrible idea to just be a giant jerk. Although there are people like that exist. But, the vibe is super chill, really jovial. On the other side, we had a long conversation of, what they weren't going to say versus what they were going to say when it comes to their solid state battery technology. The hubless motor that's been out, you can look on YouTube and see people who have driven the TS Pro with the hubless motor, not with the new battery, but with the hubless motor. And largely the reviews are positive. It's probably not a bike that you would want to, tour on. You probably wouldn't want to do 400 or 500 miles a day. It's got a little thin seat on it. But if you're zooming around downtown or if you're taking short trips, hour or two, it's probably great. I'll say this multiple times. I'm not allowed to have a motorcycle. So with that, I think that it's, that part of the technologies, it's not old for sure, but it's been out there for a little bit and there have been reviews on it. When it comes to the battery itself, if Donut Lab is, if they have what they say they have, I can understand them not wanting to give a competitors an advantage before they have to. So that it's a very, very limited information that we got on the batteries. Most of my conversation has to do with the hubless motor. Now, I'm going to explain something that's going to be a little bit confusing, and it's my fault that it's confusing. When I'm talking to him about his product, the donut motor, I'm using the term hubless motor. Now, when I am talking about when I first got into EVs and I, talking about just in general, in hub motors, I continued to say hubless motor. And that was because I just got, sometimes when you're doing these interviews, you don't have a script. I didn't have a set of questions that I was going in with. I just kind of let the conversation go where it was going to go. And as a result, instead of saying in hub motors when it was appropriate to do so, I said hubless motors. So just keep in mind, Donut Labs has a hubless motor, the donut motor. And then when I'm talking about motors in the past with durability issues, I'm talking about the in-hub motors. Again, that's my mistake, and sorry about the confusion. What else? Yeah, an auto columnist for a number of different outlets, Auto Week, Auto Blog, Barron's, Jim Motovali. Hopefully I'm saying his last name right. He was, when I was doing my interview with Ville, he came up and he asked if he could be a part of it. And honestly, like, what a cool opportunity for me, because, you know, I'm just a Dumbo with a microphone when an actual journalist comes up. And we were towards the end of the interview, but I would have gladly let Jim take the entire interview, and I just would have recorded it and used it for this show, just because he knows the questions to ask. He's a bona fide journalist, whereas I am, like I said, I'm somebody that can afford a microphone and a hosting plan. So a little bit different, but yeah, you're going to hear him come up and talk, and just ask if he can sit in. And again, I did not mind at all. It was actually quite awesome. So let's go ahead and start off, with the interview with Ville, the CTO of Donut Lab. Also, I'm going to start the interview off by not realizing what the name of the company was called, because we were talking about all this stuff beforehand. So I had it in my head, Donut Motor, and then I stumbled. But you'll hear it because it's honestly like the first 10 seconds. I am here with Ville from Donut. What is
Donut
it?
Lab.
Donut Lab. I almost said Donut Motors. We were just talking about motors, so I had a little brain motor. So everybody's really excited about the solid-state battery, and I do want to talk about that. But first, I want to talk about your hubless motors. Can you explain to folks who may not know what a hubless motor is, first of all?
Yes, it's either a hubless motor or we just call it a donut motor, basically.
Okay.
Because it's shaped like a donut. So we have quite a few different constructions of it. So we can do a completely open hubless design, or we can do like a automotive variant, or one automotive variant of that is using a existing automotive hub and brake components, but it just has the donut around those components. So what we do different to anyone else is we are like making all of the active materials so compact that the donut is actually very thin on the inside. So we can then package them with like traditional brake components, or in the automotive use case, whereas other people are struggling because their active materials are much bigger and there's not enough volume there. But then also on the kind of open donut versions, we have all of the like inner surface for cooling. So for example, in the motorcycle or two-wheeler use case where your continuous power and torque requirements are not that high, we can very easily do that with air cooling, which is the lightest and cheapest way of doing it.
Okay. And then in terms of durability, you have a plate strapped to the side of this, and then the hub hooks up to that plate, right?
Yeah.
And then from there, all of the vibration and road bumps and things like that, that all gets transferred back into the suspension system, which is one of the big problems with hubless motors, is that they take all the beating.
Yeah.
In this case, they're not. Is that the same with the automobiles as well?
Yeah, so that is one way to do the automotive motor. So we are decoupling all of the vehicle loads from the motor. So the motor bearings, the large diameter bearings, are actually there only to hold up the weight of the motor. So it's even less like abuse than you would get in a two-wheeler, where you're kind of relying on the large diameter bearings.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's crazy. Is there anything that I missed on the hubless motor that, like, when I first got into this in like 2016, I was so big into hubless, and then it just became very apparent that technology at that particular time wasn't going to work. And some people have tried every now and again, and it just hasn't worked. With the motorcycle, with the Verge motorcycle, it looks super cool, very Tron-like. Is there anything maybe I missed that I should have asked you or brought up about the hubless motor that maybe a lot of people don't know?
One thing to note there is that it's not like people keep thinking that this is only like a high-end expensive thing, but this is actually it's both highest torque and power per unit of mass, but it's also the highest torque and power per unit of like money, so per dollar. So we are doing this into like both the very high-end, like extreme hypercar things or drones that fly. They are kind of the highest-end versions. But then we are also doing like our channel partner Verge is supplying them to all of the like most price sensitive categories, like entry level scooters and everything. And even then we are competitive in price with like Chinese suppliers. So it's not just about the like peak performance and that, but it's kind of accommodating both ends of the market.
Yeah, like if you go to Verge's website, you'll see like their highest end motorcycle, which looks amazing. My wife won't let me have a motorcycle, and this one would not be a good idea for me. But it's like 0 to 60 in 2.6 seconds, something like that.
Yeah, I did a 2.3 last summer.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
How was that?
Well, it was wheeling and spinning the wheel at the same time, so it was quite terrifying. But also it has a very good traction control system, so it's basically like anyone can do that. So it's almost like riding a scooter, and then you twist it all the way, and it's like a teleportation machine at that point.
That is the nice thing about electric vehicles, because you can tune. I mean, because if you put somebody new on a motorcycle and they twist the throttle, they're inevitably it's going to pop up in a wheelie and they're going to fall down until they get used to how to work the clutch and everything. With the electric, it's just a whole smooth thing, and there's a computer that controls all of that.
So what my wife likes is that this is basically the most kind of safe way to have fun on a motorcycle, because it's so controllable, and you can accelerate already from traffic lights and not like accelerate first to like a 60 miles an hour and then it starts going.
Right. Yeah. It's not going to. Not necessarily going to go out from underneath you. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk quickly about the batteries. You get a lot of buzz being the first all solid state, not semi-solid state, but all solid state battery. A lot of companies haven't been able to do it. I know you're very limited in what you can say, and I'm okay with that. But as much as you could say, how were you able to accomplish what so many companies can't?
If you don't mind, I'll sit in on this answer.
Okay.
I'm with Auto Week.
All right. So Jim's going to pull out his microphone.
No, I don't have a microphone.
Oh, okay.
Here.
Just here to listen.
Okay.
Yes, the question was how did we do it? So we've been very deliberate about keeping this as secret as possible, because we had no rush in unveiling it before we were actually ready to go into production with it. So this is a different chemistry and different manufacturing method to what you've been seeing typically in the kind of lithium-ion-based solid-state batteries. But we're very specifically not talking about how it's different in both chemistry and manufacturing method. So this is a very scalable way of doing batteries, and it is scaling very fast. And now we are ready to actually get to production with an actual vehicle.
So in as and Jim, jump in here if you have any questions. But in as many, or what kind of, I don't even know how to ask this without getting an answer that you don't want to give me. What kind of, if you could just kind of break down like a challenge or two that maybe the company hadn't had to overcome you can even make it as vague as you want it to be.
Yeah, I mean, that's, as you can imagine, the world is pouring billions and billions into development in solid-state batteries. But I think they're kind of pouring those billions into the wrong things. Like they're trying to make very hard chemistries work where they just simply don't want to work together. But in this one, it doesn't really have any of the biggest challenges than like lithium-ion based solid-state batteries usually have. Like you see, it's very difficult to go from the lab into production. We haven't really had those kind of challenges, but there's always the kind of weird challenges that you don't really figure in the beginning.
Sure.
Yeah. So, but it's more about like I think our biggest focus right today is, or our biggest challenge right today is focus, because we're approached by the whole world. So what do we focus on with these ones is kind of the challenge going from today, after the announcement 3 days ago. Like every single industry wants these batteries, but we've been mostly in the EV mobility space so far, but we also had some propulsion customers in construction and heavy industries, and even I don't know, elevators and washing machines or whatnot.
Well, I start out in a motorcycle, and when will your batteries be in this roadster, longbow roadster?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and that's a very simple answer as well. So we have a very close relationship with Verge.
You were in the same company, right?
Yeah, we used to be.
Spin-off of that.
Yeah, we used to be under the same group, but now we are, last year we demerged our company into 3 separate entities. So we have Donut Lab, we have Verge in the two-wheeler space, and then we have ESOX in the defense space. Now why choose motorcycles for this battery is exactly because we can almost use Verge Motorcycles as a cheat code to get to market very fast. Because, of course, we've been keeping this very secret, so almost none of our propulsion customers even knew about this battery tech before 3 days ago. So now it's going to take quite a while before automotive companies can get into production. But Verge can get there in just a matter of a couple of months.
You could be in production. You could give somebody production-ready batteries that you go right into.
Yeah, so Verge is going to go into production with that bike behind you in just March or April or something.
What's the range of the bike?
I can't remember the miles.
I think it was.
There's 2 versions.
miles, and then there's. I don't know where my phone is. I had it written down. It was 200 miles, or 300 miles, and another ridiculously high number.
Yeah, because we basically want to end the discussion about range anxiety in motorcycles. So we made a long range version of that, which has 2.5 times the range than any other a volume production motorcycle.
Any other electric bike?
Yeah, so it's 600 kilometers, so is that 350 miles or something like that?
Yeah, 370.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Zero, they're right around 174 miles of range.
Yeah, something like that. And this charges in 10 minutes as well. So
how many units do you expect to ship out each year with the Verge deal?
I don't actually know those details about Verge, so you're probably going to have to ask the Verge people.
Sure.
Nowadays very much in there.
What's the plan for that?
That one, I think you're going to get the best answers from the Longbow co-founders.
Okay.
So they are they're our kind of people, very fast-moving.
Based?
UK.
Oh.
All right. You have been more than generous with your time. So, Ville, thank you very much. It was nice meeting you, and awesome, man. Good luck. I hope everything works out for the company.
Yeah, thank you.
If you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or personal loans, help is here. More and more Americans turn to credit cards to get by. National Debt Relief is helping qualified clients reduce what they owe. For many, continuing to struggle making minimum monthly payments could take years to pay off. National Debt Relief has already helped over 550,000 Americans reduce their debt by negotiating directly with their creditors. When you call, you'll be amazed at how much you can save and how quickly you can become debt-free. If you want off the debt treadmill, visit nationaldebtrelief.com today. You don't need to declare bankruptcy, and you may qualify for significant debt relief. To find out what savings you may qualify for, simply visit nationaldebtrelief.com. That's nationaldebtrelief.com.
Okay, so what... I didn't mention this before because I really wanted to keep this focused more on Verge and Donut Lab because they were kind of the biggest part of the announcement. But, obviously Donut Lab is creating hubless motors for cars as well as motorcycles. And, the technology works a little bit different, but to kind of keep things simple, I just really kind of focus more on the motorcycle side of things. Maybe, after some time passes, we can take a look at what they're doing for the hubless motors for the actual cars themselves, passenger cars. But for now, like I said, I just kind of wanted to keep it as simple as possible. All right, now we're going to get to the actual motorcycle itself. We're going to sit down and talk with, or stand up. We were actually standing, kind of walking around the bike. Spencer Cutlan, who is what is Spencer's title? I know he's the head of sales, international sales manager for Verge Motorcycle. Spencer was a lot of fun to chat with. Again, the whole vibe of this company is, when I say this company, I mean Verge, is fantastic. I sat and chatted with the co-founder of Verge Motorcycles, Lehtimaki, while I was waiting for Spencer to get done walking somebody through the bike. And I didn't even know he was the co-founder of the company or CEO of the company. We were just having a chat, and it was just like chatting with a friend, like so personable. So personable is what I meant to say. Overall, I just got really good vibes from the folks in the booth, and which makes me want the company to succeed even more. So let's go ahead and jump into our interview with Spencer on the TS Pro, and this particular one is the California edition. Oh, and before we start, we were talking about how much charge you can put back in the battery in 10 minutes. And I said about 180 miles. He said, no, it's more than that. It's closer to 200 miles, 300 kilometers. 300 kilometers is about 186 miles. So you can, Spencer had just gotten in like at 1 o'clock the previous night, 11 o'clock in the morning, the previous night, or that same day, I guess it would be. So, the calculation was off a little bit, but, when you're going from kilometers to miles, that's okay. Just so you know, he'll say 300 kilometers, which is right, and 200 miles, which is a little off. It's about 186 miles if you were to do the actual calculations. But all right, let's go ahead and get into the interview.
Into our secret sauce.
The secret, yeah. Listen, I
it's
think
like Dr. Pepper, right? They don't have
no, or the Colonel's 11 herbs and spices.
Yeah.
So I'm here with Spencer with Verge Motorcycles, and Spencer, we are standing in front of the California edition of the TS Pro.
Correct.
So, first of all, what has been everyone's reaction? I just was very kind. Tuomo, the co-founder of the company, sat with me for about 10 or 15 minutes while you talked to a bunch of other people. So I think I know the answer. But what has been the reaction to the Verge and also the announcement with Donut?
Yeah, so the internet has blown up. As soon as you mount a solid state in this field, people absolutely go mad for it. So we are making that leap, and we are standing by all of our production and all of our claims that it is true. It's not vaporware, and the reception has been massive, global. Insert explicit word here.
Okay, yeah. No, so when I walked into here, the West Hall this morning, I immediately went to Donut first, because there was already some people over here. Waited for a little bit, not too long, but there's a lot of people wanting to talk to people. And then same thing over here. There's just a line of people waiting to chat about this bike, and not even necessarily like interviews. Like when I walked up, you were talking to a gentleman, and he was just a bike enthusiast.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he was geeking out over it.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, we get, to use the phrase like geeking out, we have the engineers coming about the motor technology, the people who are into the battery technology, bikers, people who just think orange is a cool color. We get anything and everyone just attracted to our bikes, which is fantastic. That's exactly what you want.
It's funny you said orange is a cool color, because I think orange is an underutilized color in cars, because I think orange cars look great.
Yeah, I mean, any McLaren you look at looks beautiful, right? And they use papaya orange, so they're onto something.
Yeah, and Scout Motors uses a very similar
Correct,
orange.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about the motorcycle, the California edition. Mm-hmm. What is it specific that makes it the California edition? Just that it's coming to be really, because I know you're coming to California first.
Yep. So we announced when we opened our stores in California. We now have 2 in LA and 1 in San Fran. We wanted to give something to our American customers, especially in California, so we made the California edition. You got the sunshine orange metallic paint with the matte black accents, and also you get your unique logo saying California edition. So that is actually replaced by the original Verge TS logo. Just a little bit of a personalization for those who want that, pride of being from California, or just like orange and black.
Is the range and the horsepower and everything the same?
It is.
It's just the California edition. You get the color, and
it's a cosmetic upgrade if you categorize it like that.
I think it's an upgrade. I think this is a great looking bike. I was telling Tom, my wife won't let me own a motorcycle. But if I was going to get one, it would be the Ultra, because I think that one looks amazing. If you put that in orange, I might divorce my wife, buy the bike, see if she'll take me back.
That's a big claim.
Well, I'm not saying I will. I said I might.
Right,
but
okay.
let's think about making it in orange. Okay, so looking at the bike, it's got an NACS adapter.
Correct.
What's the range? It's 300 miles?
370.
370
on the larger battery pack.
On the 33 kilowatt hour battery pack. And then on the 20
is 217, which is actually the current world record that we hold.
Yeah, so if anybody's other, like a closer competitor to you, like Zero, they have like 174 mile range at the top end.
Yeah, you've got Energica as well, who unfortunately are going through some tough times in terms of their business, but they still have products on the road and a lot of users. So like they're our biggest competitor in my eyes.
Great, and then the solid state battery, we won't talk about the secret sauce or the magic or the fact whether it's anode or anodeless or ceramic, whatever. We won't talk about any of that.
Okay. Probably good, because I wouldn't know.
That's okay. Every time I say it, it makes me feel uncomfortable, and I get a tickle. Charging speed, 200 kilowatts.
Yes.
And then that, in 10 minutes, that gets you about 180 miles back?
No, it'd be over 200.
Over 200.
Yeah, 300 kilometers range added in the 10-minute span.
And how is that with, like, the charging curve, right? So we have the smaller battery pack. As we get close to that curve, are we seeing that same amount of range?
What we're seeing is that the curve isn't so much as a curve. It's more of a, how can I say it? A slight bulge.
Okay.
So due to the nature of the solid-state batteries, they can withstand a lot more force. Not force, I'm using...
They're more durable.
Yeah, more durable. So you are able to charge at those speeds for longer. We do want to be safe, of course, and make sure that these products can last 20, 30, 40, however long years, because the cycles allow us to. So we'll put some safety barriers in there, but it will be a lot more linear than current lithium-ion batteries are, which would be great for our customers.
Great. And I've already talked to about the hubless motor, but I absolutely love that you bolted a plate to the side of a motor, and then you brought that end and made it take all the vibrations into the suspension system. Is there anything extra that you want to add to that? Because it just seems like such a thing that nobody did.
So the essence of where the donut motor came from day one was a lot of people are making electrifications of scooters or bicycles and things like that, but still using a motor with a chain or motor with a shaft to drive the actual thing that touches the road. And when you think from an engineering perspective, you're building in a loss already. And granted, it's been around for decades, hundreds of years, and blah, blah, blah. We wanted to just totally reinvent that and think about the ideology of what is pure. Pure is having the power where the road is being touched. So that's why we came up with the donut motor. We didn't make it look cool. That's kind of a byproduct, that it actually looks quite cool.
Okay.
Call it Tron, call it Batman, call it Akira, whatever you want. But now, because it's open, it allows you to cool the stator actively as well. So, we're not specifically driving air into it, but it's able to cool that way. And we've never had an issue with it, ever.
That's awesome.
You can't talk that with the traditional hub motor setup. So that just makes it so much more durable and just a better overall experience for our customers. And that's what we really want to emphasize.
Yeah, and they say with the EVs, is, as soon as you hit the accelerator or you twist the throttle for bikes, it's instant power to the tire. In this case, it really is instant tire. Right. Like, it's near instant in those other cases. This is instant. Let's talk a little bit about the software here. Going through this, and my finger wouldn't work. Tuomo's worked. But on the software, you get riding stats. You get a list of how many miles you traveled the day before.
Yes.
And then I'm assuming you could hook your phone up to this thing?
Yes, full Bluetooth connectivity. It's also connected via LTE to the cloud. So you can have over-the-air updates from us, and we're working on navigation and not Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, but we're looking at the legalities of which ones we can have from day one. There's a few loopholes to go around and things like that.
Sure.
But yes, you got the initial touchscreen, which is in the traditional tank location, but you have the secondary screen then, which you can focus on when you actually ride. So you don't need to look down when you're riding, but it gives you as much information. I like to call it a diluted Model S.
Okay.
I won't patent that technology
Okay.
or that name, but yeah, it gives you all the information you get from a Model S minus the fun stuff that Elon and his team make.
Okay. And then would there be ever an instance where you had maybe an app store where you partnered with a few companies, maybe Spotify or, that kind of thing?
That is definitely in the pipeline, as in like potential pipeline. That would be a question for the tech guys rather than the head of sales EU. But it's definitely out there. Why not? Because you see it with Tesla. Waze is a big navigation platform that hasn't been integrated to many things at the moment. You've got loads of other things like What 3 Words as well. So loads of navigation platforms, and so there's definitely the future for it. Yeah, I mean, our platform is based to grow, and like I said, with the over-the-air updates and the openness of our team, we don't have the same amount of people as Ducati or any of the other big tech guys. So we are very, dynamic, and if that's one thing we want to go with, we can implement it quite fast. As we've shown with our solid-state battery technology, we're going to be the first. So why not do that in the software place as well? So we've definitely got open ears, that's for sure.
Yeah, and the vibe, I mean, I don't know if it's just the CES vibe, but I was talking to the co-founder, Tuomo, and just as casual as could be, like a super fun company. He was showing me some stuff that you guys are doing, and nothing that's like groundbreaking or whatever. He was just like, here's some fun things that we do. And I was just like, what a fun company to work for. Is it a fun company to work for?
It is. Don't get me wrong, we are in a tough environment.
Sure.
Being EV and in motorcycles. So there's a lot of hate to navigate and a lot of people doubting and things. But as soon as people get a bum on a seat, that's the key point, and people take us seriously and know we're doing things right. And we're doing things with the mission to, have our place in the world. And we're not going to get rid of petrol tomorrow, but we're offering an opportunity to have something that might be different or could be additional to what you have now. We're not pushing agendas. We're just making fun products and having fun doing it.
Awesome. I think that's a great way to end the interview, Spencer. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Really appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely.
And take care. Okay, so the reason why I'm laughing there is because I find it to be hilarious that after all of these interviews, and it's the right thing to do. So let's start with this. But after all these interviews, we shake hands, even though they can't see anything. Like the you folks don't see anything because this is an audio podcast. We shake hands afterwards, and I don't know. It just makes me laugh every time we do that. And it's awkward and weird. And then we sit there and talk for another 2 or 3 minutes before moving on. So that's why you're hearing me laugh and it's not just, this Spencer and it's everybody pretty much that I interview. And it's fine. It just makes me giggle that we're shaking hands during an audio podcast at the end, as if people can see. But I do want to thank Allison and Steve Sheridan for not only providing an amazing interview for this episode, but also for being just really good friends. And I don't know, one of the things that I enjoy the most about going to CES is being able to hang out with Allison and Steve. And of course, Rob Dunwood's there. And I want to be careful here because there's so many cool people that I have a chance to meet. I don't want to start naming a bunch of people and then forgetting somebody. So that would make me feel bad if I made you feel bad. So just getting an opportunity to rub shoulders with co-founders and CEOs of companies, that's all fine and dandy, but actually getting to sit down and meet and talk to people is by far the best part of CES, in my opinion. And those people could be other creators, or they could just be somebody that works in a booth. It's some of those folks that you talk to are PR folks, and some of them are employees of the company. And I don't know. I rarely, if ever, have a negative experience in that situation. So I feel very blessed that I get to do it. Is really what I'm saying. So big thanks to Steve and Allison for, again, giving us that clip to play. Also, I'll put a link to the YouTube video, but Steve and Allison actually have a YouTube video showing the Donut Lab booth, and in the booth is the Verge motorcycle. I think maybe next year I need to upgrade and maybe go video. It's so much more work, but man, I think it makes for better content. But yeah, so thank you to Marko, Tuomo, Spencer, and Ville for all agreeing to do interviews. Although Tuomo didn't do interviews, but I had such a good time chatting with him. I'm just gonna thank him anyway. And yeah, it was a fun trip, and we have more CES content coming. Nothing like this. This was kind of the big news out of CES in terms of EVs. So this one was a special episode. Tomorrow, I'm going to talk more about Tesla getting rid of the $8,000 option for full self-driving. I don't know if that episode's going to go out tomorrow or that episode will go out on Saturday, but we will get 2 episodes this week. And just coming back from CES and then going to work, it's not a problem with work because it's fun. But we have new people, and we call new folks booters, right? We have 2 booters on my shift, and which requires a lot of training, which means that, the amount of time that I have to get done, things that I need to get done goes down quite a bit because of the time commitment for the booters. And, I'll be honest, I'm in a position where I'm not, I'm not there for all of the booter training. There are certain trainings that I don't partake in with the booters, and it's still a lot of time. So, I do enjoy it though. All right, everybody. That is it for me. I will put links to Steve and Allison's video in the show notes. I'll put links to Verge Motorcycle and Donut Lab in the show notes as well. And, yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this episode. Please, 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 if you enjoyed Steve's interview, go tell him. He's SP Sheridan, like S like Steve, P like Paul. I don't know what Steve's middle name is, but I'm going to guess it's Paul. Or Penelope, Steve Penelope Sheridan. It doesn't sound right, but it could be. Yes, it's SP Sheridan on all the things. So please go tell Steve he did a good job and tell him he should have his own podcast because goodness gracious, I would listen to it. Even if he was reading the instructions of coffee makers, I would still listen to it. Yeah, I'll put all that stuff in the show notes. I'll put links to Podfeet in the show notes. And like I said, Donut and Verge. I feel like I'm repeating myself. So I'm going to go ahead and end this here. Thank you all for listening. And, if you want to provide feedback on this episode, it's Bodie, BODIE at 918digital.com. I know I threw a lot at you at this episode, and I tried to, especially with the hubless motor, I tried to break something down that isn't necessarily complicated, but hard to explain without showing pictures of. Hopefully, that made sense to everybody. So yeah, you can also find me on LinkedIn. I'm a big fan of LinkedIn now. Apparently that I'm 51. That's the age of being a big fan of LinkedIn. Just part of aging, the normal aging process. All right, everybody. I'm going to go because I'm rambling, which is also a part of the aging process. And I'll talk to you all. Well, technically, I'll talk to you all tomorrow, but the episode might go out on Saturday. All right, bye-bye.
Comcast Business helps retailers become seamlessly restocking, frictionless paying favorite shopping destinations. It's how nationwide restaurants become touchscreen ordering, quick-serving eateries, and how hospitals become the patient scanning, data managing healthcare facilities that we all depend on. With leading networking and connectivity, advanced cybersecurity, and expert partnership, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business. Powering possibilities. Restrictions apply.